The first time that I turned an airplane upside down by myself, I was pretty terrified. I mean, after all, who does this? Who takes a perfectly good airplane, takes it up in the air, and turns it upside down, does a loop, does a roll, does a hammerhead or a spin? But I did those things. Yes, I was an aerobatic pilot, and that's one of the reasons that I love to talk about risks. So, welcome to Are You Brave Enough? I'm Ann Bulluck. Welcome to Are You Brave Enough? I'm the founder of Daring to Transcend because I'm a risk-taking coach and a speaker, and I love to talk about risk-taking. Why? Yes, partially because I was an aerobatic pilot, but also because I believe that risk-taking is essential to our health, our well-being, and our growth. Because ultimately, if we're not growing, we're shrinking. Let me put it to you this way. Think about a plant. You take a plant and you put it in a nice big pot, and the plant grows and it's happy and it's healthy and you're taking great care of it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until one day it stops growing. It stops getting bigger. And then maybe it stops being quite as healthy and quite as vibrant. Why? Because its root system has gotten too big for the pot. There's no room for the roots to grow, so there's no room for the plant to grow. We get like that too. We get stuck in pots. And if we don't move ourselves, we stop growing and thriving too. But it's often a risk to move ourselves. It's often a risk to take that next step, to have that hard conversation, to quit that secure job, to write a book, to put a piece of artwork on display, to whatever it is that you really want to do, whatever it is that is going to help you grow, those things can be risky. But unlike aerobatic flying, which probably most of you are going to think is not just risky, it's downright reckless, and I could buy that argument. After all, I don't do aerobatic flying anymore. But it wasn't like I just decided one day to go out and get an airplane and take it out and turn it upside down. No, I practiced. I had instruction. I got help. I did it many times with someone in the airplane to help me before I tried to do it on my own. Taking a risk does require planning. It does require consideration, and it often requires asking for help. And that's the difference between risky and reckless. Reckless is doing something on a whim, on the spur of the moment, without thinking it through, without understanding what the consequences are, without understanding what the costs are. Risky, on the other hand, is getting outside of your comfort zone. It's probably doing something new, something different. Maybe it's doing something that's never been done before. But you have a plan. It's not done thoughtlessly or carelessly. When I left my corporate job, I was starting to feel like one of those plants in a pot that had gotten too small. It's not that my job was too small. I was an executive vice president. I had plenty of challenges. I had plenty of things to do. But there was still this feeling inside of me that something was missing, that there was more that I needed to bring to the table. There were more skills and talents inside of me that needed to be used for me to feel truly fulfilled and for me to make the impact and contribution that I really wanted to make. But I wasn't sure what to do. I had been in a job for a long time. It was a very secure job. It was a very well-paying job. So, okay, leaving this job is going to be a big risk, right? So I didn't just quit, obviously. I planned, and more importantly, I asked for help. And that's one of the key things that you need to remember about taking a risk. You don't have to do it alone. There are people that can help. I mean, look at people that climb Mount Everest. You don't go out and climb Mount Everest without training, without getting the right equipment, and without having a guide. So I went out and hired a coach to help me figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to feel fulfilled? What impact do I want to make on the world? And what's that going to look like? And that's how I became a coach. My most favorite things about my job was to see people who had skills and talents that weren't being used or were being underused, and help design jobs, design roles and org chart boxes that fit the skills and talent and interests of the people that were in the organization. I know it's a little unconventional because often people say, okay, well, let's design the job that we need done and then find the people that fit that job. And yes, there's some of that needs to be done too. But the thing I love to do is say, we've got all these jobs and we've got these people, but if we tweak this job description, if we massage that one, and if we give this piece of the job to this person and give this piece of the job to somebody else, everybody's going to be happier, more work is going to get done, and people have the opportunity to make a bigger impact on our organization. And they have the opportunity to grow and be happier and get outside of their comfort zones a little bit more. So I really wanted to help people do that. And what I saw in corporate America, and even with entrepreneur friends that I had, is that a lot of women felt like they were in that pot that they had outgrown, or maybe that they never even fit in the first place. They wanted to know why. They were unfulfilled, and maybe they didn't even know why. And so I started down my entrepreneurial journey wanting to help women get out of those boxes. But what I eventually realized is that the key to getting out of those boxes is risk-taking. Because that's how I had gotten out of my box. I had gotten out of my corporate box by transplanting myself into a new pot, a pot that was bigger, that had more room to grow and more room that I could express myself and use my skills and talents. One of the skills and talents that I used was writing. I love to write. But of course, in corporate America, you get to write memos and reports and proposals, but maybe not such fun things. When I left, I had a plan to write a book about leadership. But honestly, I kind of found that one boring. So it changed into a fiction novel. And just recently, I released my novel, Discovering Power, which is the first novel in a trilogy called the Ascending Ladder series. And I not only wrote the book, I asked for help and improved my writing skills, especially fiction skills, because I didn't really have a lot of those. And I put the book out in the world. And it was scary. It was outside of my comfort zone. I mean, way outside of my comfort zone. But it was so rewarding to do it because it was a dream of mine that has now been fulfilled. And it's a dream that I can build on and now make bigger and grow it and change it. Because I don't want to be in another pot that I create for myself. I want to have a pot that's big enough. And if it's not, I want to take the risk to transplant myself into another pot, into another role, into another way to express myself and make an impact in the world. So as I mentioned earlier, this video is the first in a series of videos that's going to be called, Are You Brave Enough? And I'm not going to bore you with my story and my thoughts every week, because what I really want to do is showcase some amazing women and men who have taken risks, who have surpassed the norms in their lives and created extraordinary lives for themselves in ways that they can make an impact on the world. Even if it's in a small way, or if they have big dreams, it really doesn't matter. Because even impacting the world in a small way is dropping that pebble into the pond, and it's going to ripple out and become big no matter what you do with it, and no matter whether you even see where that ripple goes. So thank you for joining me today. I'm so grateful for everyone who is supporting me on this journey and helping me along the way. And starting a YouTube channel and starting a YouTube show is another risk, but it's one that I really want to take because I want to share more risk-taking stories with you. I want to inspire you, and I want you to inspire me. So please follow the channel, share below what your biggest risks have been, and let me know if you want to have a chat. Thank you for joining us, and join us again next week for another episode of Are You Brave Enough?